Hi everyone, I'm Doug Alsdorf, and in this short video, I'd like to have a look at answering question 1 in the quiz for Chapter 11. Go to the WordPress webpage, click on Quizzes, and then scroll down to the quiz for Chapter 11, and let's have a look at question 1. Question 1 is rather lengthy in terms of the description, so I'm not going to read all of it to you, but I invite you to go ahead and read and see what the question is all about. Briefly, what it does is it suggests to you to have a look at this report written in Kiplinger, where they talk about managed funds, actively managed funds, and seeing how well they've done over the past decade. So this article was written in 2014, and so or 2024, I'm sorry, 2024. And so we're going to look at stocks starting with, or funds starting in 2014, the past decade. Now, when doing that, we go ahead and see which funds that they have suggested to us. The key here to remember, these suggested funds were done by backwards looking. It was 2024. Kiplinger went back in time 10 years to look at funds who had done well over that decade. So they are trying to pick funds that do better, in this case, than passively managed index funds. So I thought, well, let's have a look and see. Because clearly, if they're going to pick winners, they should be able to pick stocks or funds that did better than an index. So I expected in this exercise to see that of these 9 suggested funds, that most, if not all, should be doing better than a passively managed index fund. Our index fund that we're going to select is VOO, which is Vanguard's ETF that follows the S&P 500, and we're going to reinvest our dividends. In this case, you're going to select net asset value with growth, which is essentially dividends. Net asset value means that all the fees that the manager has for their actively managed fund is taken out of this price. And so the price reflects how much money you'd actually make. So that's helpful. So here are, and by the way, in the question, I suggest making 3 tabs, and you see my 3 tabs up here that I've already created, plotting these 3 funds with VOO, and then plotting these 3 funds with VOO, and then finally these 3 funds with VOO. So let's now look and see, hopefully we're going to find funds doing better than VOO. VOO is in the blue shade down here. So anytime the other colored lines are in that blue shade, they're doing worse than VOO. So in here, we're going to try to see, okay, which of these 3 have done better than VOO? Well, yeah, the red is better than VOO, so we can write that one down. That's FBGRX. I'll write that down. The green is kind of slightly better, but it's better. That's NEFS. But this other one here, SV Facts, no, it's not better. Let's have a look at some more. The next 3. Okay, well, gee, only the red one is better, and that's BFGFX. We'll write that down. But it was only better for a short, not even the entire time. All right, let's come back to that. And then finally, it looks, oh man, the last 3, certainly 2 of them, and really honestly, that green line is not better for the most part. And in this, I invite you down here. You might consider answering this way. Review along the entire timeline, looking at the amount of money in each fund. Where would you have been happy to have bought the fund instead of VOO? And if you'd have been happy, say, 6 years out of the 11 and a half years plotted, that's a little more than half the time, then you can go ahead and select it. So let's look. Okay, so here, yeah, the red line is pretty consistently better, and the green line is kind of better for the most part than VOO. So we're going to select those 2. But the light blue line, no, we can't select that. Now here, this is troubling for me because for 6 years, the red line is not as good as VOO. And then it explodes and does much better. Basically, it had 1 year of growth right in here. That 1 year of growth, that was when they did better than VOO. 1 year. The rest of this, yes, it's better than VOO, but that's only because they escalated right here in that 1 year. But nevertheless, we look past these and we're like, okay, we're still going to select it, but we would have been unhappy with this red choice, BFGFX. Even though we're going to select it, we would have been unhappy with it for 6 years. Yeah, we may have actually sold it after 6 years. Now let's look at the last one. And none of these really are better than VOO for an extended time period. For the most part, they're all worse than VOO for many, many years. So we're going to say we're going to, in answering this question, we're going to select this one, FBGRX. We're going to select NEFSX, and we're going to select BFGFX. Let's scroll down and see the answer for question one. We're going to scroll down, and yeah, because I already know the answer, it is the correct answer. The thing I find troubling, 3 of 9 funds, only 3 did better than a passively managed fund. And this is critical. That was in backwards looking. That was going back in time, finding winners that were winning 10 years later. And yet only 3 were better than VOO in a backwards looking. Now imagine saying, okay, of those 9, which ones are going to do better in the future? If we only got 3 that went better in the past when we knew the answer, the future is completely unknown. How can we possibly select any of this as being better than VOO? I honestly don't know. So to me, this is yet another example of why passively managed index funds, reinvesting your dividends, are absolutely a great way to make money in a way that actually doesn't cause any anxiety in you, because you're not sitting here trying to, wonder, am I going to do better? Am I going to do better? Am I going to do better? And wonder the entire time. So I hope this is helpful for you as you look at this. Thanks a lot.